Welcome to this series on natural law and consciousness. Today we're going to be looking at words, the original meaning of words, how words influence consciousness, and how the meaning of words has been corrupted. We'll be looking at the definitions of words according to the original Latin, Greek, Hebrew, or Arabic. Words are how occultists use terms, and we're looking at their intended use, not necessarily the dictionary definitions. Many words in popular culture have drifted from the original intended definition. This crosses over into the field of neuro-linguistics, that is, how we are influenced at a subconscious level by words and how they are used. Words can control the mind, and the definition of words is important. Words have the power to corrupt or inform, to inform and transform or corrupt. Corruption means using a word to control people by changing its meaning. I've selected these words because their true meaning has been confused in modern society. I've chosen words representing concepts that will help us to understand ourselves better. How the meanings of words can influence our consciousness, either for the better or worse. Related to word definition is green language. Green language is word magic, and this has more to do with phonetics and linguistics. We'll cover that later. So the first word we're going to look at today is ad hominem. This is from the Latin prefix ad, or against, and hominem, meaning a person. Therefore, an ad hominem attack is directed against a person, rather than against what the person is saying. How often in political debates have we seen this, where the losing political side will suddenly come out and attack the opponent rather than address the actual argument that they cannot answer. Sometimes we find words that have strange meanings, different from what we thought. The word addicted is such example. The prefix ad is a negation, and dictare is which is to speak. Therefore, addicted is not speaking out against something that you do, or changing your behavior, speaking against the negative behavior. The word anarchy is very misunderstood. We've been deliberately misled as to the true meaning of this word. An is the prefix of negation, the absence of. It's a Greek noun, and the Greek noun archon means rulers or masters. And this is the opposite of monarchy, meaning one ruler. Anarchy means the absence of rulers or masters. Anarchy does not mean chaos in society. That is a lie that has been implanted into people's thinking. Another very misconstrued word is apocalypse. Apocalypse simply means pulling back the veil, uncovering or revealing. Apo in Greek means back, away from. Kalyptein means to cover or conceal. Therefore, apocalypse means to pull back the covering and reveal. The word attention is very interesting. It simply means the lack of tension. In other words, being relaxed. Perhaps it's because in a relaxed state you can pay attention. The Greek prefix, is absence of. And tension is the absence of tension. So that implies a relaxed state. when left and right hemispheres of the brain can come together in the chemical wedding. Conscience, from the Latin word conscientia, which is privity of knowledge or with knowledge. The English word implies internal awareness of a moral standard in the mind concerning the quality of one's motives, as well as the conscience of our actions. Consciousness, from the Latin con, which means with, and scio, which is to know, literally means with knowledge. The ability to recognize patterns and meanings concerning events within oneself and within the realm that one exists and operates. Diagnosis, it's from the Greek preposition dia, or through, by way of, and the Greek noun gnosis, knowledge. Diagnosis, by the way of knowledge. Dialectic, from the Greek preposition dia, through or by way of, and the Latin noun lectos, choice. Dialectics provide us the illusion of free choice. A debate is intended to resolve an issue between two opposing parties. Two views, rather than to establish which one is true. It just provides the playing ground, the debate. Dictator, from the Latin dicto, which is to dictate, and dico, to speak. A totalitarian leader will repeat propaganda over and over until people are mind controlled. Dominion. Dominion is the quality of an inward harmony of thoughts and emotions. This is self-respect. It's self-love, i.e., unity consciousness. Education. It's a drawing out of one's innate talents and abilities by imparting knowledge of languages, scientific reasoning, history, literature, rhetoric, etc. These are channels through which these abilities would flourish and serve. Education shouldn't be just about learning facts. Freedom is the infinite value of the human being. The destruction of freedom is evil. Everything evil teaches people that they have limited value. Fiat, in Latin, let there be. Genesis chapter 1 verse 3, in Latin, fiat lux, or let there be light. Now, fiat currentia means let there be money, as if money is spoken into existence in the place of God. It's a way of saying that money or currency, currentia, is current or energy, as if it was from God, which it is certainly not. Government, from the Latin verb gubernare, which means to control, and the Latin noun means mind. Government literally means mind control. Hegelian dialectics is a type of dialectics, and this term was coined by the philosopher Hegel. It is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. In other words, problem, reaction, solution. Hegelian dialectics is a framework for guiding your thoughts and actions into conflicts that leads to a predetermined solution. And this is done to manipulate consciousness into circular patterns of thinking and actions, never attaining a result that is beneficial for the people. Ignorance. Ignorance is ignoring available information. The word ignorance contains the word ignore. Ignorant people are subject to the consequence of their actions, and it carries blame, because these people have the ability to find that information. That is ignorance. Indoctrination is instructing a person or a group of people to accept a set of beliefs uncritically and without thinking. It is a regurgitation of information for some reward, usually, in the case of school, as grades. Jurisdiction. From the Latin noun jus, law, and the Latin verb dictate, to speak, to say. So law is spoken into existence in a jurisdiction. Kabbalah is a Hebrew term. In medieval, the Latin is spelt with a C, Kabbalah, or in the rabbinical Hebrew, Kabbalah, spelt with a Q, and this simply means to receive. Magic is causing change to occur according to the will. Will with a capital W, as opposed to will with a small w, which is sorcery. Will with a capital W is the will of God, the will of the Creator or the universe, not the will of the magical practitioner. Moral relativism. It's the ideology of objective morality, that morality does not exist inherently in nature, and that there is no right and wrong, that these are merely subjective concepts, that human beings may invent arbitrarily according to time, location, circumstance, or preference. Mortgage. From the Latin mort, meaning death, and gage, meaning grip. A mortgage is the grip of death. Nature. It's derived from the ancient Middle Eastern and Arabic languages neter, meaning spirit, and the suffix al, which means of. So it's related to. Therefore, nature is related to spirit, not made by human beings. Also, another meaning is from the noun nasi, which is to be generated or born, and from the Latin noun natura, which means essential qualities, innate dispositions. Nescience as opposed to ignorance. Nescience is knowledge that the average person has no access to and can't reasonably know. A child can be said to be nescient if that child had no reasonable access to information. In terms of natural law, a young child may not have the same culpability as an adult because they can't access information. They don't know the difference between right and wrong, don't have access to that knowledge. Therefore, they may not be liable for wrongdoing according to natural law. The difference between nescience and ignorance is that ignorant people have access to information and they willfully choose to ignore that information, and they will be subject to the consequences of that ignorance. The word nothing tells you what the word is in the word, no thing. It's something that does not exist in matter. Now, spirit is a no thing. It has existence, but not in the physical world, not in matter. The same with no body. Simply means not having a body. Spirit doesn't have a body, yet it exists. The idea of nirvana is to be reabsorbed into spirit, the no thing or no body. That's not the same meaning as annihilation as some people would believe. Now here's a misunderstood word, occult. The word occult does not mean something evil. It's from the Latin verb occultare, which simply means to hide or conceal, to keep secret. And in turn, occultare is from the Latin noun oculus, which means eye. Occultists use the symbol of the all-seeing eye to signify that they have that knowledge and others do not. The word occult does not mean evil in that there are two sides to the occult. Those who use hidden knowledge for the benefit and the good of people, of others, and those who use it for their own selfish purposes, which is evil. But the bias is that people will see occult as being evil regardless. When information is taken out of general circulation, it gives an advantage to those who keep that knowledge and use it for their own selfish purposes, and they use it against the people, the public. Predators. From the ancient past, dark occultists from antiquity, they knew how the human psyche worked, and they exploit their knowledge. In this case, they view themselves as predators, predating modern civilization. Religion. It's from the Latin verb relegare, which means to tie back, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress, to bind. And this is how people are kept back in their spiritual development, through religion. Respect. To do again, and spect, to take a look at. Therefore, respect is to take another look at something. It is worth looking at. Respecting others, you're looking at them again. Responsibility. Response ability, or the ability to respond. Science. From the Latin word scientia, it means to know something. It is observed and understanding the phenomena that takes place around us. That is science. Solipsism. From the Latin adjective solus, alone, and the Latin pronoun ipsi, which is self. This is the quality of being very self-centered and selfish. It's the view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. Solipsists contend that knowledge of anything is outside of oneself, and therefore it is unsure. Hence, there is no objective truth, and nothing external can be truly known. It can't be communicated. Solipsists believe solipsism is a false belief. It's a false religion. And this is the hallmark, the defining hallmark of spiritual infancy, like a childish way of thinking. Departing from this diseased ideology signifies human maturity and spiritual development. Those who are genuinely, fully aware understand that there is objective reality, that we can know what is in existence, that truth can be known. Now, sorcery, as opposed to magic. Sorcery is negative magic. It's the art or the science of influencing change in the world, causing change to occur in accordance to the lowercase w will. The will of the practitioner. It's the ego-driven will of the dark occultists, in a form to influence others. Sorcery is not of God. It's not God's creation, but the selfish, egotistical, ego-driven will of the sorcerer. Sorcery is the practice of lesser or fallen magic. It's this fallen magic the sorcerer attempts to accomplish. Sovereign comes from the Latin adverb sove, which means above, and the Latin noun regnum, which means rulership, control. A sovereign is above the rulership or the control of another, and is not a subject or a slave of another person. What we should attain for is internal sovereignty and external anarchy. No external rulers, but an internal I. Well, my friends, those are the words that I had chosen for you today. I expect you to go out and search word meanings for yourself. What I've done is just an introduction, hopefully to open your mind to this subject, and you can do the searching on your own.